What's good, y'all? What's the numbers TV? It's your boy Paul Rowe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and like a video if you appreciate the content that Paul Rowe and What's the Numbers I have provided. Today we back with another profile piece. This one is on Frenchie BSM. In this video we're going to take a look at his early years coming up in Queens. Then we'll speak about his well-known family that has a rich history in the streets of New York. After that, we will highlight his music career that took him down south, where he became part of a legendary rap crew before finally breaking down the situation that currently has Frenchie serving time in prison. Greg Hogan, better known as Frenchie, is from the South Jamaica section of Queens. His father, Big Frenchie, was a well-known gangster in the neighborhood who ended up being killed in 1988 when Frenchie was just 2 years old. Besides his father, Frenchie had some family on his mother's side who were well-known in their own right. His older cousins were Deb and Bimmy Anthony, who would become Queens legends over time, just like his father, Big Frenchie. But Deb and Bimmy would do it a little differently. Although Bimmy started out in the drug game, he eventually shifted over to the music industry after doing some jail time. His sister Deb would become a manager for up-and-coming artists that eventually grew into her starting Mobb Entertainment, where she would have some of the hottest artists in the game at the time signed to her. Frenchie himself started rapping while he was around G-Unit during his rise to fame, but it took for him to go down south to a family reunion in Atlanta for the next phase of his music career to take off. Because while in Atlanta, Deb introduced him to Gucci Mane, who was on the rise at the time. Gucci took a liking to Frenchie and ended up signing him to So Icy Entertainment. The song Shirt Off from Gucci Mane's The Movie mixtape, released in September 2008, which featured Frenchie, Woo the Kid, and OJ the Juice Man as the So Icy Boys. The song would be Frenchie's breakout track, becoming a local hit on Atlanta radio. Shortly after that, Frenchie ended up signing a management deal with Deborah Anthony's Mobb Entertainment. From there, Frenchie released his debut solo mixtape titled French Connection in February of 2009. During this time, it is rumored that Frenchie introduced Deb Anthony of Mobb Entertainment to Nicki Minaj and French Montana. Both would end up signing with Deb for her managerial services. Waka Flocka, who was Deb's son and Frenchie's cousin, will end up experiencing some success in the rap game with his hit song Oh Let's Do It, which was released around the end of 2010. Waka, running off his newfound fame, would start Brick Squad Monopoly with Frenchie as one of the original members. BSM would flood the streets with music the same way Gucci's So Icy Boys did. They were very popular down south as a unit until 2013 when Gucci and Waka had a falling out. The two would go at it on social media, traded disses back and forth, with Frenchie taking the side of his cousin Waka. In 2014, after releasing about 14 mixtapes with Brick Squad Monopoly and Deborah Anthony, Frenchie would part ways with them and venture out on his own under a new label named Protective Records that he helped found with a couple partners. In 2015, Frenchie would start working with some younger rappers in an attempt to find some artists for his new label. He released 2 mixtapes that year, one collaborative tape and one solo tape to keep his fans satisfied. In late 2017, Frenchie would get involved in a beef between Tekashi 6ix9ine and Trippie Redd. When 6ix9ine's camp was trying to put pressure on Trippie Redd and ban him from coming to New York, Frenchie and his team threw the protection blanket over him and brought Trippie to South Jamaica, Queens to shoot a response videos to 6ix9ine and his crew. But after a few incidents between 6ix9ine and Trippie, including one where blood was drawn, the beef just kind of died down and faded away over time. In early 2018, Frenchie would go on the Flip the Script podcast and speak about his upbringing and history in the rap game. He also spoke about his relationship with his family and where he currently stood with Gucci Mane. The interview was a good look for Frenchie as he finally got to tell his side of the story from start to finish on a respected platform in New York City. In 2019 and 2020, it was regular scheduled programming for Frenchie as he continued to drop music and appear online doing interviews on different hip-hop outlets. During this time, he also continued to throw shots at Gucci Mane over the issues they had throughout the years. Then, in January 2021, an Instagram post appeared with Frenchie fresh out the hospital, showing off bullet wounds after being shot multiple times. In the post, he confirms he was shot, but also expresses how he's lucky and grateful to still be alive, although he never disclosed any information on the shooting. In 2022, the energy around Frenchie felt a little different. Musically, he was back in his bag working with a bunch of different artists like some Bronx drill rappers. He also started running around with Paparazzi Poe a little bit, who was now rocking Frenchie's BSM chain and repping Brick Squad. But something just seemed a little bit off with his demeanor and appearance. It looked like he was secretly dealing with something. A lot of people thought Frenchie was just having a hard time dealing with the death of his mother, which happened a few years earlier. But then in June of 2022, Frenchie's name was in the news again. But this time, it was for being convicted for a home invasion robbery. The story that would come out was that in May of 2021, Frenchie was proved to be one of 7 men who entered the home of a sleeping family in Long Island with the hopes of finding $100,000 worth of marijuana. Once inside, the group forced the family, which included an 18-year-old autistic boy, to lay down on the floor while the rest of the robbery crew ransacked the house. At one point during the robbery, the 18-year-old autistic kid was pistol whipped because he wasn't following orders fast enough. The robbers ended up fleeing the home with just a small amount of cash and an iPhone after realizing they got some bad intel and were in the wrong home. Next was sentencing for Frenchie, and in April of 2023, he was hit with 12 years in prison with 5 years supervised release. Frenchie's lawyer said in court that his client would appeal the verdict, but as of right now, Frenchie is behind bars serving his time. But yo, it's What's the Numbers TV. This is a quick profile piece on Frenchie BSM, real name Greg Hogan, out of South Jamaica, Queens. You know, like, he made history during his time in the spotlight with BSM as far as, like, you know, being from the hood, being from the city, going down south, turning up, becoming part of a crew that ended up making a lot of noise down south in the rap game, trickled up here back to New York City. He was popular. You know what I'm saying? As far as did he get his just due monetarily, I don't know, but, you know, he spoke about, you know, getting 15, 20,000 a week back during you know, the 1017, the So Icy Boys, the BSM era and all that. Now, how it transpired over the years, did it, you know, go upward? Was it a crash and burn situation? You know, that's on you to you know, decide. You know, he is doing 12 years right now, so it's up to you, you know what I'm saying? But he had a lot of good also, you know, maybe he fell on some bad times, I don't know, but he was the oldest in that whole situation. Like, out of all the people that got locked up, they was all in their 20s and their teens. Frenchie was 37 at 36, 35 at the time, was the oldest one involved in the situation, at least of the ones that's arrested, who they got on as being part of the robbery. So, you know, was he a following at that your age, following some young kids? Was he an older statesman in the crew? Was he should have been telling them something different? We don't know. Now his lawyer in court said something totally different. As far as, like, he thought he was going to the studio, he was the getaway driver, he ain't know they ran. But, you know, I don't know, that could be some lawyer talk. You know, we heard of so much lately going on, a lot of lawyer talk in all these cases. Sometimes it's not specifically the person who's saying this, but, you know, the lawyer might say something in a chance to defend, you know, in an attempt to defend them in the courtroom. So, like I said, his lawyer said he was just outside thinking he was going to the studio with some dudes ran in the crib, but one of the witnesses in the house says she seen him in the hallway during the robbery, even though he was never seen on ring footage as being in the house. So that's a little, you know, information that came out during the trial. Now, you know, he had a bunch of relatives that was in the music game, you know, Deborah, Bimmy. Now, before y'all go and say, oh, that's his uncle and his aunt, he said he looks at them like an uncle or his aunt, but they're just his older cousins. Waka's her son. That's how Waka is his cousin, you know, Waka Flocka, Woo the Kid. This is all people that in the music industry that he's related to and he got relationships with. Now, we know today's day and age, nobody likes giving handouts out. You got to get it on your own. So just in being related to these people doesn't mean nothing at the end of the day, especially nowadays. We know that it's more of a, like, get it how you live, each one for their own type. It's not really each person pulls somebody up all the time unless you got something to offer. So maybe as his star declined a little bit, or as he stopped being the man rapping, that's what happened. Now, also, I want to touch on this last thing. He did look a little stressed. In the last few years, like the last year, he looked a little tired. You know, maybe he was, like, you know, partying, trying to stay, you know, being that he knew he might have had a trial coming up and he might have had to go in. But he did look a little stressed. Now, was that because of the robbery, or that was the situation that transpired in court? Or was that, you know, some life things as far as, like, you know, how he lost his mom? He was, you know, his career was in a spot where he was trying to get back to where it was before. We don't know, but like I said, it's just a quick profile piece on Frenchie BSM, real name Greg Hogan. Hope y'all appreciate it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, all that good stuff. Go subscribe to the Clips channel. Follow What's the Numbers TV on Instagram. And we appreciate everybody, man. It's What's the Numbers TV. It's your boy Paul Rowe. I'm out of here. Peace.